Hi friends, I'm Dr. Kevin Egerth. We got a question emailed in today and I want to address it on a live video because I think it'll be really helpful to everybody else out there that's viewing also. So the question was, the emailer started off by saying that her and her husband fight a lot. They fight all the time, and just kind of a blanket question, wondering if I had any advice for them. So, my mind just goes a lot of different directions here. But, and there wasn't any more detail than that. So I'm a little bit limited on how I can help this exact person. So I'm going to address this more generalized, and so it'll be really useful for everybody. So to start with, when couples are no longer in romantic love, in that incredible attraction, when they're no longer experiencing that, when they no longer experience what we would call chemistry. These are different phrases, but it's all the same emotion. It's referred to as being in love. When a couple is not feeling like they are in love, then they're prone to a lot more fighting. They're prone to not working with each other to resolve conflicts, and they tend to want their own way more so. So to start with, if you are at a place where you're no longer in love, then you'll be prone to a lot of fighting. If that's the case, then our home DVD study course is exactly what you need to restore that romantic love. It's powerful, and it's worked for thousands of people. Now, some people, most of the time, if you do not hate your spouse, you don't even know if you've drifted out of love. Well, why? Well, because it's happened so gradual over such a long period of time. People, they don't even know it most of the time. And so we have to have help with that. If you are wondering today, does my spouse love me? I know they care about me, but do they really love me? Or yourself, do you love your spouse? If you're wondering about that today, any of you out there in the viewing audience, anyone at all, I will send you a free test. Free, absolutely free. Okay? Just send an email, go into marriagepartnersministry.com, send me an email, and I'll rush the test right out to you. And that will let you know if you are in love or if your spouse is in love with you. There's some very, very specific indicators of this, and a test lets us know 100% for sure. So that would be my starting point. I would want to know, are you in love or not? So we can take a test. If not, we can take the home DVD study course. You'll learn about romantic love, how to create it. Once you know how to create it, you'll know how to sustain it. Once you know how to sustain it, then you just, it's still effort, but it's just an awesome life. It's an awesome marriage when you sustain that emotion. Just like, remember when you were first dating, how awesome that felt when you were just first falling in love? Well, you can sustain that emotion over a lifetime. And so that's my starting point to answer this question is we got to find out if you're in love or not, and then we go from there. If you're not in love, this course will take care of that for you. The next thing is, you mentioned that you're fighting a lot. Okay. Fighting a lot generally happens when people do not have the skill set of marital negotiation. They don't know how to resolve their conflicts and how to handle their marital decisions in a way that sustains love, a way that works for both parties. See, everybody deals with conflict. You cannot avoid it. Some people try by not talking. They try by avoiding or sweeping it under the rug and having this big elephant in the room, right? But the conflict does not go away. Everybody has an intuitive style or an intuitive strategy. It just comes natural to them how they're going to handle conflict. Some people handle it just by not handling it. So the conflict remains, resentment grows, romantic love in their heart towards their spouse dies. That's one particular style. Another style is what I would call the dictator strategy. this is real type A personalities. You know, I tend to do this myself. I've got to be very careful about this because I'm a go-getter. I like to get things done. I'm fast moving. I like to be active and you know, get things done in life and help people in life. I've got to be careful when things don't work out in my favor. My intuitive strategy personally is a dictator. I want to say this is how it has to be. We'll go like this, this, this. You know, this is the best way, and I have a logical basis for it. I've got to resist my natural tendency or my intuitive strategy. And if that's your strategy, you have to resist it. Now, if you have two people that are fighting a lot in a marriage, that tells me that the strategy that you're using is what we call the dueling dictator strategy. And it never works. And it destroys romantic love very, very quickly. There are several strategies. This workbook here will help you to identify your strategy that you're using just intuitively. I mean, you didn't sit down with pen and paper and design a strategy. It just comes natural to you. And it does for everybody. You have a intuitive style or strategy to resolve conflict or handle how you handle conflict. And your spouse has a style. And when you can identify your style and your spouse's style, hey, that's the beginning point. Because then you can resist the thing that comes so natural to you, the thing that doesn't work, the thing that's landed you at a place where you're sending, me an email because the relationship is not as beautiful and as fruitful as it could be. By the way, we're going to get you back to that point really soon, really quick like. We're going to get you back to that point where things were just wonderful, like they were in the beginning, when you just effortlessly created compatibility. So this is marital negotiation. It's a course that we offer to you. There's a learning component to it. You can learn about conflict and how to resolve conflict. We've got a workbook to go through. You can learn your style, your spouse's style. You learn how to come to mutual agreements, not compromises. Oh, that's a big one. Let me say that again. Compromise is not the best strategy, if you will. It's better than fighting. It's better than sacrificing and then letting the resentment grow in your heart. It's better than being a dictator. And then, of course, you get your way when you're a dictator temporarily, but it comes at a cost. The cost is romantic love in your spouse's heart towards you. So people think, well, why not just compromise then? Because compromise typically is not sustainable. It's typically not sustainable. Okay? Let me give you a prime example of this. I was working with a couple. He wanted to get a big boat. And he wanted to get a boat, take his friends out on it, and show them a good time. She didn't want a boat. She wanted nothing to do with a boat. Okay? So they started working out, hashing out the details and kind of, trying to talk through it. And he felt very passionately about his perspective, and she felt very passionately about her perspective. They came to a compromise. The compromise was that he would buy a little boat, and he wouldn't expect her to go out every weekend on the boat with him and the friends, but every other weekend. Now let me ask you this, just point blank. Would that be sustainable? No, it wouldn't be sustainable. You see, when there is a store, a big sale down at the store, and her girlfriends want to go shopping, but it's the weekend, she's got to go out on the boat, because it's a family thing, and she agreed to it every other weekend instead of every weekend. No, she'll find a reason not to go because she won't want to go. Okay? And when it comes down to the boat, is he going to be satisfied in a little boat? He can't even really have that many friends on there, really? No, he's not really going to be very satisfied either. And so it's not sustainable. And so I sent them back to the drawing board. They went through our program, and they went back to the drawing board. They came up with a mutual agreement. And by the way, a mutual agreement will help you to become much more intimate with your spouse. You will know so much more about your spouse when you actually follow the guideline that we've set out here. It's a very clear guideline. It's set out. It will make the negotiation process comfortable, peaceful. It won't be a big fight. It won't be a big nervous interaction, a stressful interaction. It's actually a very pleasant interaction. When people actually learn this skill set, when they learn it, they enjoy negotiating with their spouse. It's not a high stress, a high pressure thing. It's a very enjoyable circumstance. Okay? This couple went back to the drawing board. They came up with a mutual agreement. She learned about her husband that it really wasn't that much, his perspective really wasn't that much about a boat. His perspective was about wanting to spend time with his wife and really having a heart desire to get his friends all together in one place, show them a good time. He wanted, almost like an entertainer, show his friends a great time and kind of lead the process and have it be something that was enjoyable enough where all of his friends would actually want to get together at the same time. And so, and you know what? She was perfectly fine with his friends. She was fine with the friends all getting together and him and her getting all together along with them. Here's the mutual agreement. They ended up agreeing there was no boat involved. She didn't like boats at all. There was no boat involved. The mutual agreement, they rented a pavilion by the lake. And they would do this very, very frequently. They would supply, and they're saving so much money on a boat, you know. They would provide all the food. They figured out how to get one of those rental jumpy things, you know, for the kids to jump in. They put on some lively music to make it a really kind of a festive, kind of a fun event. They'd invite their friends out, showed them all a wonderful time. You know, they provided for all the food. Like I said, compared to the cost of a boat and fuel and maintenance, it really wasn't that expensive to provide all the food. And they showed their friends an awesome time. And you know what? Both of their intentions or both of their purposes were met. This is a mutual agreement. It's sustainable. They will both continue to do that over a long period of time because they're both enjoying what they're doing. You know, it's not his number one pick. And it's not her, you know, number one pick. But they were able to dig down deeper into what was really in his heart, what was really in her heart. And this mutual agreement that they came to, it fit the bill, it fit the purpose of what they were both trying to achieve. And it was awesome. Now, this is what we're going to teach you to do in this marital negotiation study course here. And I just want to re-emphasize once again, it's a skill set. It's very counterintuitive to most of our natural style. And so what we have to do is we study it, we go through other people's conflicts, other people's problems, so they're not your own. So you're not emotionally charged. And as you go through that, you're practicing that skill set, and you're practicing the skill set. And it will become like second nature for you. So that in your own marriage, when a conflict arises, you'll sit down, you'll practice the step-by-step process that you learned. By the way, I want to re-emphasize, it's a very, I won't say fun, that's not the right word, but it's a very peaceful, it's a positive process. It's not high stress, it's not high anxiety, it's very relaxed. It's a setting that we're trying to learn about each other more, engage more about how each other feels about the particular topic a little bit more. It's an enjoyable setting, a peaceful setting. And so the process itself is sustainable and creates romantic love. And the outcome decision that you've got to live with for the next year or 2 or 3 or 4 is sustainable and will sustain romantic love in your relationship. That's why it's so powerful, because it sustains the reason why you got married in the first place, because you were incredibly in love. And this will help you to do that. You know, a lot of couples, when they're getting into trouble, they say, we're just not compatible. Listen, if you learn marital negotiation in a way that creates and sustains romantic love, you will never be incompatible. Never. It'll never happen. This course here has saved so many marriages. We teach this in our premarital course also. You know, you don't need to know all kinds of things about, I don't know, let me just pick a silly example. Finances, okay? Are we compatible with finances? In premarital coursework, a lot of other people's courses, they say, okay, do you like to spend a lot? Do you have credit card debt? Do you want to save for retirement? And you try to see if people are compatible ahead of time. This teaches you whether you're compatible, whether you have the same ideas or not. This teaches you how to build compatibility into your relationship. Listen, financial troubles can happen in life, but a money problem never has to become a marriage problem. Oh, let me say that again. It's so important. A money problem never has to become a marriage problem. This is what prevents it from becoming a marriage problem. Okay? A friendship problem, you know, a friend maybe that you like and your spouse doesn't, never has to become a marriage problem when you learn how to build compatibility. You know, I really shouldn't call it marital negotiation. We should call it a compatibility builder. I mean, it kind of is really doing the same thing. Friends, I hope that you have found this video to be useful and helpful. Please help me save my passion. Please help me with my passion. My passion is to save millions of marriages. We've saved thousands and we want to keep on going. We want to save millions. Millions. I need your help. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Please share. Please send an email with your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Please help others with their marriage. By sharing, you help others. Remember, we're all in this together. We're one community. We're partnering with each other. That's why we call it Marriage Partners Ministry. Partnering with each other to have awesome marriages. Remember, what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. Thank you.